Andrej Karpathy, the OpenAI co-founder whose lectures trained half of this generation of AI researchers, quietly logged onto X this Tuesday and announced he is now reporting to a pre-training lead inside Anthropic. 5 sentences. 11 million views. And 6 other bombshells, from a Google agent to a $300 million SDK buyout, detonated across Silicon Valley in the same 24 hours. It started Tuesday morning. Phones lit up in San Francisco, in Palo Alto, in New York. Group chats among AI researchers blew open. Slack channels at OpenAI, Google, and Meta filled with screenshots. By the time anyone in Europe woke up, the map of the entire industry had already been redrawn. And the strangest part, none of it leaked first. Every single bombshell hit fully formed, on the same day. That is not a coincidence. 7 announcements. $60 billion in implied market value moved. 3 rival labs hit at the same time. We are going to walk through each one in order fastest pace I can do without losing the thread, and at the end I'll show you the single thread that ties all 7 together. Buckle in. Because bombshell number 1 is, on the surface, the smallest. But it changes the floor of the whole field. Bombshell 1. Andrej Karpathy, OpenAI co-founder, former Tesla AI lead, the man whose lectures trained half of this generation of researchers, quietly posted on X that he has joined Anthropic. 5 sentences. 11 million views in hours. He is reporting to pre-training team lead Nick Joseph. Karpathy left OpenAI for Tesla, returned, then started his own education startup Eureka Labs in 2024. Now, he is at Claude. Pause on that for a second. Because Karpathy does not just hop labs for a paycheck. He moves toward the next frontier. And he is publicly betting that the next frontier of large language models is sitting inside Anthropic, not OpenAI. But it gets worse for the team back at OpenAI because Bombshell 2 landed just 6 hours later, and it came from inside their own building. Bombshell 2, OpenAI guaranteed capacity. Tuesday afternoon, OpenAI announced a new product letting enterprise customers lock in compute through 1, 2, or 3-year contracts in exchange for discounts. The CEO wrote on X, quote, "Customers are increasingly asking us for certainty on capacity. As models get better, we expect the world will be capacity constrained for some time." Unquote. Translation: even OpenAI is now selling reservations on a resource it does not yet have. Think about that. The most valuable AI startup on the planet, fresh off a $122 billion private round at an $852 billion valuation, is asking customers to prepay just to guarantee they can use the product later. That is not a sign of weakness. That is a sign that demand has fully outrun every gigawatt of compute on Earth. Bombshell 3. Google I/O. Same day, the Shoreline Amphitheater filled, the lights dimmed, and Google's CEO dropped a coordinated barrage. First, Gemini Spark, a general-purpose agent inside the Gemini app that can reason across your connected tools and act on your behalf. Beta now. Trusted testers and AI Ultra subscribers next week. The word Google kept repeating on stage was simple: agentic. Not assistant. Agent. Bombshell 4, Gemini 3.5 Flash. Google claims it beats Gemini 3.1 Pro on coding, agentic, and multimodal benchmarks while running 4 times faster on output tokens per second than competing frontier models. Price? Half, sometimes a third, of comparable offerings. And here is where it gets really interesting. Gemini 3.5 Pro is already in testing and ships next month. Google is no longer chasing OpenAI on quality. It is undercutting on price. Bombshell 5, Gemini Omni. A new family of models that takes image, audio, video, and text in, and outputs video grounded in real-world knowledge that you can re-edit on the fly. Combined with new intelligent eyewear shipping this fall and a $100 a month AI Ultra tier for power users, Google's pitch is brutal: we are not just a model anymore. We are the operating layer. Wait until you see what happened next. Because while Google was on stage, Anthropic was quietly closing 2 deals in parallel. Bombshell 6, Anthropic acquired Stainless, the 4-year-old New York startup whose software generates the official SDKs for OpenAI, Google, Cloudflare, and Meta. Reported price tag, at least $300 million. Founder, former Stripe engineer Alex Rattray. Outcome: Anthropic now owns the toolchain that its 3 biggest rivals use to reach their own developers. Read that again. The libraries OpenAI ships to its customers, generated by a company Anthropic now owns. The Python SDK in your enterprise repo, the MCP server connectors, the CLI tools, all routed through code Anthropic controls. This is Anthropic's fourth acquisition in 6 months. Bun in December. Vercept in February. Coefficient Bio in April. Stainless this week. Each one looks small. Stack them, and they look like a strategy. Bombshells 7, NVIDIA's new Vera CPUs. The very first units shipped this week to 3 labs, Anthropic in San Francisco, OpenAI in Mission Bay, and SpaceX AI in Palo Alto. Then Oracle Cloud in Santa Clara on Monday. NVIDIA claims agentic inference at 1/10 the cost per token, agent sandboxes running 50% faster, enterprise queries up to 3 times quicker. And nobody outside those 4 buildings has touched one yet. Now picture the boardrooms. At OpenAI, a co-founder is gone, the SDK pipeline is captured, and the company is being forced to sell prepaid compute contracts to fund the next training run. At Google, they just spent the keynote of the year matching Anthropic and OpenAI feature for feature, then slashing prices below both. The PHLX semiconductor index dropped 3% on the day, on top of a 4% fall the previous Friday. Memory chip makers led the slide. Lumentum, Marvell, Oracle all bleeding red. CoreWeave fell 4%. ServiceNow somehow gained nearly 5% in pre-market. Why? Because the market is now sorting companies into 2 piles, those who own compute, and those who rent it. And the bigger story underneath all 7 bombshells is exactly that split. And that is not even the strangest part. Anthropic just made an 8th move that nobody is talking about. They also acquired Reliant AI, a biopharma analytics startup with offices in Montreal and Berlin, founded by researchers from DeepMind and Google Brain. Wait, that was not Anthropic. That was Cohere. Same day. Canadian rival Cohere is now pushing north for pharma, a sovereign AI stack aimed straight at regulated industries Anthropic and OpenAI cannot easily touch. Meanwhile, Armada, a modular AI data center startup, closed a $230 million Series B at a $2 billion valuation, co-led by BlackRock and Overmatch. Their pitch to drop a finished AI data center anywhere on Earth, including remote mining sites and military bases. They also signed a global framework with Johnson Controls for a 400,000 square foot Arizona factory. Demand is so violent, the bottleneck is now physical real estate. Stack the 7 together. A defection. A capacity lockup. A new agent. A new model. A new world model. An SDK monopoly. And a chip handoff to 4 labs only. In 24 hours, the entire AI stack, talent, compute, model, distribution, hardware, was rewritten. Not by regulators. Not by a market crash. By 7 press releases timed to land on the same Tuesday afternoon. And there is one common thread. Every single one of these moves assumes the same thing, that the supply of frontier compute will be the choke point of the next decade, and whoever owns the inputs to it owns the outputs. Talent flows toward it. Money locks it down. Acquisitions hoard the tooling around it. Chips ship only to the chosen few. The race is no longer about who has the best model. It is about who owns the floor under every model. Now you can see what that decision was. The defection. Andrej Karpathy, the single name that has tracked the frontier of AI for a decade, walking away from OpenAI's pre-training program and lighting up Anthropic's. He moves, the talent market moves. Within hours, Stainless announces. Within hours, Vera CPUs arrive at Anthropic first. The other 6 bombshells are not coincidences. They are the industry rebalancing around where one researcher chose to sit. So here is the question worth arguing in the comments. Was Tuesday the day OpenAI's lead quietly ended and Anthropic became the new center of gravity in AI? Or is this just one more pendulum swing in a war that is far from over? Drop your call below. I read every reply. Hope you got something out of this. Hit subscribe for more in this lane, and we'll see you in the next one.